Hey friends, it's Heather, and today on the Now What Y'all podcast, I want to talk to you about one of my most despised phrases. And I'm sure it's something you've heard like 1,000 times. And the phrase is you can't pour from an empty cup. Every time I hear that, I just want to like cringe because here's the thing. Yeah, you can. You can pour from an empty cup. It just means there's nothing coming out. And I mean, how many, and I am as guilty as anybody, but how many women out there, whether you're a parent or and have a corporate job, or you're an entrepreneur, or you're two of the three, or all three, or whatever, how many of y'all have done that time and time again? So I really want to know. And my question is, so it you can pour from an empty cup, but why? Why do we keep doing it to ourselves? That's what I really want to look at, and that's what I want to talk about today. So I have a couple of theories about it. Um, First of all, I think for those of us who are in a certain age group, us, you know, really 30 and up, but I know especially with me as a Gen Xer, um, we were raised to believe that part of our worth, a big part of our self worth, was measured by what we do for other people, and like we were to please and to give. Being good meant you didn't cause trouble, you were quiet, you made life easier for everybody, you were helpful, and you just kind of put your own little needs and tucked them away in a box, and just zipped your lip. Because otherwise, if you made too much noise, you made too much of a to do, or you made yourself the center of attention, you were deemed a selfish kid and a bad kid. I know that I learned this from my mom. You know, you, we had moms that would work all day long, and they would come home and they cooked and they cleaned and they helped with homework and they coordinated schedules, and then they collapsed into bed and they got up and do it all over again the next day. But guess what? We're still doing that. That's not just our mothers. It's not just us, but we need to break the cycle so that our daughters don't do the same things. And when we are giving and giving and giving in service and doing all kinds of things for other people, we're not actually showing love that we think we are. It's a form of self-destruction for ourselves. And so service without boundaries is destructive to us and me and you and everybody in between. So, and I think that there's this little kind of selfish lie that we tell ourselves that every time you think you're doing something just, for you, like you think that if I'm taking a weekend off, or you're hiring an assistant, or you don't go to this volunteer opportunity, this volunteer thing, or you have a housekeeper or somebody who does your yard, your first thought is, oh my God, I can't do that. That is so selfish. What will people say? I don't care what people will say, because you wanting freedom and ease isn't selfish. It's brilliant. It's smart. It's like taking care of you. What is actually really selfish is when you run yourself into the ground so badly that you are 100% burned out and you're like a puddle of tears on the floor. And then other people around you who do not understand what's going on have to pick you up. It's, when you have run yourself so much into the ground that you can't make good decisions in your business. You're snapping at your kids, you're yelling at your husband, and you are feeling like you are this rubber band that is just going to go bing, bing, bing. That behavior is actually the selfish behavior. Being able to step back and say, I am not superwoman and I cannot do it all. Taking care of yourself and being your best self, that's strategy. That's empowerment. That's being smart. So, y'all know I keep talking about it, but this year I turned 55, and I decided to do this experiment, and I have been recording my journey on TikTok and Instagram. So basically I do one thing for Heather every day. And sometimes it's bigger things, some things it's small things. I think This morning I actually made this lemon and sage honey that I want to try out. It's supposed to be yummy and good for me. So, anyway, that's an example of the thing I did today. So, just to understand, it doesn't have to be big, and it can be a little small thing that you do for yourself. But the reason I started to do this is because I realized that I had been pouring from an empty cup. I was losing myself and I didn't know, kind of what I wanted to do or be next or whatever. And I decided to do this one single thing for myself every day. No justification, no explanation, not because it's productive, just because it feels good, just because it makes me happy. And I've learned a couple of things over the last couple months that I've been doing this. Number one, the world did not end because Heather decided to do something for herself. I don't micromanage things as much. I have noticed that other people in my family and life are like stepping up because I'm not stepping in to be the fixer of all problems. And shockingly, other people can figure it out. I am 1,000 times more present with my family, with our kids, with my husband, with my friends. I'm not feeling resentful. I don't feel like, oh my God, just hurry up. I really need to go and do XYZ. Um, I'm just I'm calmer and my business is running smoother and I'm not a bottleneck in my business. So that's another bonus. But I think one of the best things I've heard is my husband said to me, "You seem happier." And just by doing one teeny tiny thing or one big thing, whatever it is, one little thing for myself every day, it has brought me more joy and more peace and more ease and more calm. So that, yeah, I am happier. It's like that book and podcast 10% Happier. And I feel like, over the course of each month that I do this, I'm a little bit of a couple percentage points happier. And so I just I just want to share that with you because always pouring from an empty cup isn't sustainable. What is sustainable is taking something a little time for yourself, doing one little thing for yourself each and every day. Now, you may get pushback. The kids may, be like, "But mom, I need help with my homework now." And you're like, "No, I need to go and do yoga for 20 minutes, blah, blah, blah." But it's okay. They're not going to, collapse because you've taken 15 minutes for yourself, or they're not going to collapse because you did something for yourself for 30 seconds. The dinner isn't going to burn or whatever it is, and your business isn't going to fall apart. Putting yourself in the position that you're being first in your own life makes you happier. It brings you joy and it brings you ease. So, I like to give homework. I want y'all to do one thing for yourself this week. Take a nap. Order takeout for dinner. Say no when you get asked, to do this extra volunteer thing. And when you are doing your one little thing for yourself, maybe it's you make your own honey, whatever it is. I want you to take a second and notice, are you having any of that internal resistance in your brain, that little voice going, "Oh man, I can't do that. That's selfish." No, that is your old programming talking. The new you, not improved, the new you is going to lean into this. And then at the end of the week, I want you to kind of check in with yourself. Like write down the things you did and see how they made you feel. Did the world fall apart? I'm pretty sure it hasn't. And did it make you feel more ease, more grace for yourself? And do you actually feel maybe more capable, right? Because if you take time for yourself, you begin to get your confidence back and you get to have that feeling of, I'm kind of proud of myself that I'm doing this. I know that I am proud of myself that I have been doing this every day for the last few months. And some of my things are silly and some of them are serious, but it's all in the service of doing one thing for myself every single day. and seeing how it makes me feel. So, also, I bet if you begin to do this, you're going to begin to notice a ripple effect, right? So, meaning your kids are going to learn a little bit more boundaries and know that they're still loved. Your team at work is going to be able to solve problems without you. Your friends are going to see that maybe your business or your other commitments, you know, you can do that without being burned out and putting yourself first. So I want you to become living proof that being successful doesn't require you to suffer. So if you kind of are still looking at me going, yeah, I don't know. Okay, well, so here's a mantra for you. I'm keeping my cup full and the haters be damned, because your well-being matters. You're the most important person you're ever going to meet, and there's only one you, and you only get one time to do this. So don't forget, take the time and do the challenge. 7 days, do one thing for yourself every day, and then report down in the comments and let me know how it went. All right. Bye, y'all. Take care of you and do something for yourself.